Hi, FBoy Island, episode 3. Alright, so here we go. I'm excited for what has just happened, and that is we have 3 returning men on the show, and that is Danny, who was feeling, I can't remember her name, the black girl from last season 2. Cannot remember her name for the life of me. And he also apparently had a thing with Angelina from Jersey Shore. So that guy who was an F-boy, he's back. So is he not an F-boy anymore? I'm confused because he seemed very hell-bent on never falling in love. So I don't know. I did like him though. I really liked him. So I'm happy to see him. Next, we have Benedict, who was surprisingly a nice guy, even though he definitely had F-boy vibes about him. So let's just finish up with him very quickly. He seems to have caught the eye of Katie. Kate says that he is her type, and she, while talking to Marco, is daydreaming about Benedict. I mean, he's hot. So I get it. Poor Vince is losing his mind once Katie actually talks to Benedict. And he actually gets very emotional. So I guess he is still a nice guy. I really like Vince and I want his happiness, but I don't know if it's going to be with Katie. We'll see. We still have a ways to go. And then the other person we have is Mercedes. Fuck. I did not like him. I still don't like him. He's an F-boy. Apparently he's reformed. Fuck that shit. But anyways, he's back. And guess what, guys? Marquise is his brother. So Marquise is an F-boy too then, right? Like, come on now. I know that's not enough. I know brothers don't necessarily mean you're both F-boys, but I'm not excited for Mercedes by any stretch of the fucking imagination. But anyways, that is where we're at. And then Hali actually was talking did I mention this? Because I figured out when I had it. Hali was seeming to build some sort of connection with Mercedes when she's also been building a connection with his brother Marquise. So she ends up going on a date with Mercedes later on that night, and it seemed to go really well. And now we're in this sticky situation of Mercedes being all in with Hali as well as Marquise being all in with Hali as well. And yeah, real sticky of a situation. And I guess we'll see where that will go. But I mean, I'll say this. I mean, they're both really good looking men, but oh boy, Mercedes is Jesus. I don't like him, like I said, but he's hot. So, and he also seems to be really charming. So I think that's also part of it as well. So I guess we will see where that will take us. And then Daniela goes on a date with Christian. Seem to go pretty well. They seem to have a lot of the same values, want the same things. For example, they both want to have 3 kids. So they seem to really get along. And I like him. I think I have a good vibe about him. I think he's a nice guy. And I think that is exactly the type of relationship she should be focusing on, not with someone who just wants the money, clearly. And yeah, I think that is perfect for her. And I hope that she continues on forward, pursuing Christian and gets rid of Jared. And then Katie also goes on a date with Benedict, and she was kind of conflicted on whether or not she would go on this date with Benedict or she would go on the date with Vince. Obviously, Vince did not take it well when she went on this date with Benedict. And he's very much in his feelings about it, and he just wants to be seen. He wants to know when it's his turn, and I feel for him because I like him, and I want him to have it. I think he will. Like, I don't think he's going anywhere yet. He's definitely gonna have his time with her, so he just needs to be patient, but it's gonna happen. But her date with Benedict seemed to go really well. Again, we kind of see him kind of jumping the gun a little bit. I feel like he did that with whoever he had his connection with as well, who I believe it was the one who ended up being an F girl. I think that's who he was connected with. Honestly, can't remember. But you kind of see him jumping the gun on this, which gives him the FBoy vibe. But he wasn't. So he'll be curious to see what happens if he ends up being an FBoy here, because he keeps saying, my heart was broken, my heart was broken. So I'm thinking then he was with, might have been her, but I can't remember. He kept saying that his heart was broken. So I'm a little afraid that he might have ended up going the FBoy route. But I think at the same time, it's possible he's still a nice guy. So we will see. But it seemed to go really well. Both of these dates seem to go well. So then we have they calling it a mixer, I guess. Anyway, we have that. And, we see Jared and Daniela talking. Guess we'll see how that may have affected her. I don't even care anymore because anything he says is just pure nonsense. And then we see Hali and Marquise talking, following her date with Mercedes. And he's basically deciding to bow out of that connection, which basically means that he's getting eliminated tonight, let's be real. And then we see Katie and Vince talk, kiss, and all that. But then we see, I think it's Vander, going and talking to Mercedes. And it's like, you don't think that maybe saw that you came into this competition and basically stomped on your brother's toes, and now you're building a connection with a woman that he just broke up with? Like, basically is what he's kind of saying. And Mercedes is like, well, I know my brother. You don't know my brother. So, like, mind your business, basically. Which is fair. I do have to give him that. But I also have to give it to Evander in the sense of, you did come in here, stomp on your brother's toes, connected with the woman that he was connecting with, and now he's broken up with her, so you can have what you want. And is probably gonna get eliminated for it. Like, you clearly haven't changed. You're not fucking reformed. You are a fuckboy. And it's most likely that your brother is the nice guy. And sorry. Anyway, but then here comes Nikki to basically save the day. And we're going to be entering into the elimination. So now we're at elimination. And Danielle puts in her bottom two Danny, who just got here, and Steven. And for Hali, she puts in her bottom Marquise and what's his name? Nick? Something like that. I can't remember his name. But anyways, those two. And then for Katie, she puts in Jonathan and again another person whose name I can't remember because he hasn't really made much of a splash. So anyway. And then for Daniela, her reasons for putting Steve in the bottom two is because, well, the obvious, they haven't really built much of a connection. And then he starts saying, he feels really sad. Oh, she also said that he has FBoy vibes. And he's like, I'm really sad to be up here at all. I feel like, you know, we have a genuine connection, and I feel like we could grow on that and, maybe have more of a physical connection. And then Hali starts giggling, and then the guys start giggling, and she's like, I'm screaming because what the fuck are you talking about? That's what Hali says. And the fact that he is just grasping at straws in order to keep himself here. For Danny, she says to him, this is not your first rodeo. You know how this shit works. Yeah, you come in here with all the confidence in the world, and for that, you're my bottom two. So basically, she's saying you're full of, you're cocky as fuck, basically, which, yeah, he always kind of had that vibe. I think that's just maybe the Jersey in him. I don't know. But he kind of always have a vibe about him. But, yeah, he doesn't really, if he does say his piece, we don't know what he says. But I mean, again, I like him, even though I know he was an F-boy. He probably still is. I still like him. And then we move on to Hali and her bottom two. So first, she says to Marquise that, you're trying to really take on the reins here of what is going to happen. And you kind of say, like, you want to build your connection with Daniela, but this is not your experience. This is our experience. So it's not about you, which isn't fair in this scenario. And the reason why it's not fair in this scenario is because you bring on Mercedes back onto the show, who is Marquise's brother. And then Mercedes inserts himself in with Hali, and Hali seems to really be taking Mercedes, not Marquise no more. And what is Marquise supposed to do? Continue pursuing you, even though you literally just swap spit with his brother? Like, this is a different situation. But the problem is too, is that Marquise kind of shoots himself in the foot a little bit because he's kind of like, I wish that you would just give me an opportunity to pursue my relationship with Daniela. And how he's like, you fucking kidding me? And starts laughing about it. And even Mercedes is like, listen, I don't want my brother to go anywhere yet. I just got here. I want to, obviously he wants to be able to have this moment with his brother too. And he's kind of like, what the fuck are you saying right now? You're shooting yourself in the foot. And he's literally like shaking his head like, that is not how you make yourself stay here. Which basically makes me realize Mercedes is probably still an F-boy and Marquise is a nice guy because he really sucks at trying to keep himself here. We'll see. And then for Nick, it's basically just pretty straightforward. He doesn't have really much of a connection with any of the women here, and it's basically all there is to it. So now on to Katie and her men. So her men, one of them is Connor, sure. And Connor, apparently, she says that you didn't, like, you tried to build a connection with me, but I don't feel like this conversation is really going to go anywhere further into something more meaningful. So, you just suck. And then for the other guy whose name I don't fucking know, she basically says to him that she's disappointed that they haven't made better of a connection, doesn't feel like their friendship has gone really anywhere further. So, for that's why you're in my bottom two. So then this fucking guy literally says, listen, I don't want to apologize for not making more of an effort to build a connection with you. He's like, but you know what? Just give me time for this butterfly to come out of its cocoon or some shit. And Katie is trying to hold back laughter. She's going to use this in a bit. And then Hali is just losing at this point because she's like, what the fuck? And he's like, F-boys, they really can be themselves and be cool and shit. It's easy for them, but for nice guys, it's not easy for us to be ourselves. You, sir, are not an F-boy. That's all I gotta say. But let's see what's gonna happen. So Daniela chooses to eliminate Steven. So then Hali basically says to Marquise right up on the top, I wish you were just honest with me on you wanting to pursue Daniela the same way that you were with the men in the house. And, well, now that I'm going to be pursuing your brother, I'm going to give you my blessing to pursue Daniela. Daniela does not look pleased. And for that, she's going to eliminate Nick. That's the other dude whose name I don't even fucking know. So, yeah, Nick's going home. And then Katie is eliminating Connor. So, who is an F-boy and who is a nice guy? Well, we start with Connor. And Connor says that he is one of the biggest F-boys on the show. And finally, Katie has eliminated an F-boy. Finally, she has broken her streak of only eliminating nice guys. And then next is Steven. And he says, I think finally just waiting to release the energy. He says, I came here as a fucking F-boy. Thank God, or some shit. He's very happy with himself. But he does say, do you think that I'm going to give you 50K over my mom? Hell no. All right. Okay. I got to give it to you. But then he says, Jared is the king of F-boys. Dude came in with some guns of blazing. Ooh. So then we move on to Nick. Okay. Nikki asks the question of, are you a nice guy or an F-boy? And he says, you know what, before I say that, I need to say this. And he says, your character is showing. And that is that you are a motherfucking gold digger. That you're weak. You choose to switch up with someone who you know came here last season as a fucking F-boy, and yet you're still gonna be with him. And he's like, because you know what? I came here as a nice guy. And everyone's like, you're embarrassing yourself, just leave, blah, blah, blah. And, she says, like, I don't care what you are, what you think, like, blah, blah, blah. And she's like questioning whether or not he really is. Now, here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say two different things here. Number one, does him being a nice guy mean he is literally a nice person? Not necessarily. But it shows that he is someone who is ready for a committed relationship. And I can understand, because I'm out here saying Mercedes hasn't fucking changed. This guy's an F-boy. He's showing his true colors right now in front of everybody. I'm sorry, you can't change my mind on it. And, this is probably a person who has dealt with women in relationships who have always chosen the F-boy over him or have fucked him over, or whatever the case may be. He's out here probably being like, I know what I want, I have shit to offer, and yet no one wants to take my shit for face value. They want to fuck around with these fuckboys and whatever. Which is something I think, women tend to do. All women, including me, have gone through F-boys because they're fun, but they're not ones you commit to. They're just not. Sorry. But on the other hand, it is not for him to say anything like this to her directly. Do I think she's an idiot for choosing Mercedes? Yes, I am. I do 100% believe that she's an idiot. Just like I give Daniela the shit because she keeps going after Jared, I'm going to do the same for Hali. But, you know, it's not up to him. He doesn't know her enough to have that idea of her or that opinion of her. He doesn't know her. It's not your place to say she's weak. She's not weak. Is she blinded by his looks? Blinded by the charm? Yes. But that's what FBoys are good at. That's what men in general, when they have that air about them, are good at. Is she a gold digger? I don't know her. And neither do you. So I don't think that is something that you should just very quickly say she is. Like, that's not okay. So on the one hand, do I get maybe where he's coming from? Yes, and he's putting out all his anger, all his frustrations on Hali. But on the other hand, it's kind of a dick move. You know, it's not cool. And after that, he is gone. Nice guy, nice try, I think. And then she says goodbye to Connor and Zach Morris, aka Stephen. Yeah. Zach Morris in the college years. My God. Oh, I miss that. Anyway, says goodbye to them. And I hate that I'm old enough to know that reference. Anyways, loved Saved by the Bell. Anyway, let's move on. And yeah, so FBoy, FBoy to the both of them. But Zach Morris does have to get in a little more and say that, you know, none of these women would have made my roster. You think you would have made theirs, sir? Like, try again. And if I don't want the knockoff Zach Morris, I want the real one. He still looks good. Anyways, but yeah. And he then says in the competition, like that's a joke or some shit, I don't know. But anyways, they're gone. But yeah, that's basically it. That's it for this episode. It does look like the next episode is gonna be pretty good. Daniela takes a guy on a date who I can't remember ever seeing prior to this. Vince finally gets a date with Katie and makes the mistake in front of the men to say that it's a done deal. So then Marco, being Marco, decides to maybe tell Katie that he's so fucking confident that he thinks he has it in the bag. And then it also looks like Marco gets in a fight with one of the twins. So, you know, and he starts crying again. I want him eliminated. Like today. Like right now. And I'm sure some of you already know whether or not he has been eliminated because the last episode aired a couple of days ago. Actually, what day are we on? Yesterday. It aired yesterday, which I haven't watched yet. So, but yeah, that's it. That's the end of the episode. And again, you know, we're just going to keep this light, keep this quick, and you can rate and subscribe on either Apple Podcast or Spotify. You can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps, including YouTube, which you can subscribe and like and comment on any of your favorite videos. You will get a response from me if you do. And you can also connect with us by going on Facebook at Reality Tea Times 2 or Instagram and Threads at Reality Tea Times 2 podcast. We are going to have a Twitter X or whatever the hell it's called these days, which you will get in a future episode of whatever that link is. And you can also email us at realityteatimes2@hotmail.com. And all of this plus everything else will be in the show notes. So that's it for today. So as always, FBoy, bye.